consumer law teaches you is that if you got bad credit, you can get paid. You can get paid.
That's when you know a motherfucker ain't lying.
A debt collector cannot put any collection report on your consumer report without getting in contact with you. You don't know the things that you don't know.
I am here today, guys, with a good friend of mine. Met this gentleman in the inner circle. He is amazing. My guy, Daraine.
I come from a spot where, you know, I didn't care about credit for a long time.
Give a man a fish, he eats for the day. Teach a man how to fish, he eats for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back at Hollywood Unlocked. You know, black brands matter to us, and me being a black brand, I always like providing opportunities for people to give information to those of you who are trying to build something for yourself within the culture. And so today I'm talking to Daraine Delevante. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so we met in Atlanta. Tell people how we met, where we met, and then we'll get into it.
All right, so the first thing I want to say is get in the room. The power of proximity. Like, you are the people you hang around. If I didn't get in the room, I got an invite to an all-inclusive gathering, and when I looked on the stage, I was like, no way. And dude, I've been watching your content for years. You were like a dream far-fetched. And not until I got in the room, I got to meet you, and we're here.
That's crazy, but what I also appreciate, and this was literally, I think, a week ago, how fast you moved to make things happen. I think part of the challenge with people, and I'm not even gonna say young people, young and old, that have ideas or dreams of starting their own businesses, they don't execute. Like, you have to execute and make the moves, and you did, so I'm thankful for that.
Success loves speed.
Okay, so consumer law secrets. Now, that's your business, and I asked you before we got started if you were an attorney, because everybody's gonna be looking saying, why this attorney got this bling on, this chain, and this and that. And that's a misnomer, because you can be a successful lawyer with the bling, but.
Well, I know lawyers that are blinged up, but I'm gonna let people know, I am not an attorney. I am just your favorite consumer law expert.
All right, so I was sharing with you right before we got started, I recently got my credit score back. I made an 800. I think I did some pretty good things with getting things off my credit. So we'll talk about credit repair, building credit, consumer reporting, and all that. But now that I have credit, I'm getting offered everything in the world, from houses to loans to credit cards to just MasterCard. I don't even know how you found me MasterCard, but I got offered a MasterCard. How important is having credit, and why do you think us as black people don't get it?
First of all, it's leverage. And for those of you who don't know what leverage means, it can take you so long, especially if you're working a 9 to 5, to save up 50 or 100,000. With credit, what you got right now, in probably an hour, you could get approved for over $250,000 or close to $300,000 in probably an hour. That's you're able to use credit to streamline the wealth building. So often we were told that credit is bad, you should use credit to buy gas and groceries and all that weird stuff. I know, I have friends that buys real estate off of credit cards. So credit cards, credit itself is things that you can use to stream, especially for a person like me. I wasn't born here. I wasn't born wealthy. I was born in Jamaica. It's either you have your money or you don't. So being introduced to this world of credit where, dude, if you want to learn the game and if you want to break the generational curses, leverage what you have. And what a lot of people have is credit. But because they've been miseducated, misinformed, and they've been told lies about credit, people don't know how to optimize it.
So how did you educate yourself first to become well educated in the world of credit to then go on and educate other people?
I got tired of being denied. I don't know if you've ever been denied for anything in your life, but I'm telling you, it is not the best
I remember
feeling.
the days where my credit was a 435. And the reason I remember that number is because in my mind I was wealthy, but in my credit I was not wealthy. And I remember going to get a Mercedes, and they were like, absolutely not. Like, we're not even trying to tell you a big down payment. You can't have it. Now, of course, I have 2 Mercedes, but yeah, I do remember those days. So, but it took me a long time to get how important credit was in the work that I had to do. So, like, how did you, so you were getting denied for things, and then
Absolutely.
you decided to figure it out?
My first car, a Nissan Altima, 2007, with 75,000 miles, paying 19%, 18.90% on it. And it came to the situation where, okay, I wanted to move to get an apartment. I couldn't get it. I needed a co-signer. So Why am I being denied? Everybody's telling me you don't have credit. Remember earlier I said I'm not from here. So Jamaica, you either have your money or you don't. There is no credit system like what's here. So credit started coming up. So it led me now, my curious mind, what is this credit thing? And then I started investigating, and then it's like, yo, America is running credit. Like if you're not rich and you really want to get some stuff done, invest in yourself, fix your credit. So when I figured that out, fast forward a few years later, I started learning from credit, and you know one of my mentors, Marcus, right? And it came to a situation where when I got my first 800, I was in Kuwait. I wasn't even in the country. I was deployed in Kuwait, and at that time I was working on my self-development. So I read 140 books that year, and it really put me in a spot where I was like, yo, I've been missing this all these years, but what happened now, to answer your question, is, dude, I got American Expresses. I had everybody reaching out to me. Before, I had hundreds on my limits. When I hit that 800, thousands. That was my first time getting approved for a $25,000 credit card. And then it clicked. Okay, you're in the military, you're on active duty. How long would it take for me to save up 25,000? That's when I knew the math was wrong. And it took me 10 minutes to get approved for it. So I'm like, imagine if you can replicate this 10 more times. And in that journey, it led me to Marcus, and then, dude, there's people investing off of credit cards. There's people building wealth off of credit cards. Zero out of pocket. It was a game changer.
So you talk about putting things on a credit card like gas, groceries. Now the way my life is set up, everything is on a credit card. Everything from the light bill, which there's good and bad. The good is everything gets paid on time, and then the credit cards get paid off on time every month. The bad thing is I don't know how much a bill is. So I still need to like dig deeper into the finances. How important is it putting everything on auto pay in terms of getting to where you have this credit score that continues to go up and not, you know, being late? Because I know you said there's no such thing as being late, but I'm one of those people that's afraid of being late.
Okay, so a late payment exists if you believe it exists. And I'll break that down in a minute. When it comes to credit, the credit score really doesn't matter. I know mainstream media has taught us, oh, the credit score, this, the 800, get in the 800 club and stuff. The profile matters, because I know people that have 800 and got denied because their profile didn't support a strong 800.
So meaning they don't have a big trade line
trade
on there,
lines,
they don't have a house or
mixture of credit, authorized users if they're an authorized user, their mix of credit, they probably have 3 credit cards, right? They never had a personal loan, no auto loan. So that mix favors the FICO algorithm, right? So your consumer report and your FICO score are 2 different things, right? So late payment is a factor on your FICO. Late payment and transactions are not a factor on your consumer report. See, your FICO and consumer report, they're independent of each other. Your FICO needs your consumer report. Your consumer report does not need your FICO.
Interesting. Why do you think people aren't getting that? Or why are people missing that? Because I know that we're focused on not being late.
Because you're distracted. People are distracted. You're distracted on a score. So, have you ever seen that movie, what is it, Ice Age? That little thing that's always chasing the acorn?
Yeah.
It's like that. He is oblivious to everything that's, as long as he gets the acorn, he's good.
Which is the 800.
Correct. The 800 is the prize. But what about the profile? What makes the 800? See, when we look up the US codes, 15 USC 1681, and everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice, I want you to take out your smartphones and I want you to put in 15 USC 1681A. When we go to number 2, it's going to say exclusions. What does it mean to exclude something?
Well, to remove it.
All right. So it's going to say, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include. Then when you go down to A1, it's going to say reports solely as to transactions and experiences between the consumer and the person making the report. When you click on the word person, it's going to let you know that a person means a corporation. So if your transactions and your experiences are not included on the consumer report, how is there a late payment on somebody's credit?
So is that how you get it off if it's already been applied?
Absolutely.
Okay, so these are like the legal loopholes that you teach
Correct.
in how to go after
Correct.
people. Okay. So if I have an 800 credit score, but maybe I don't have a house on my credit or a loan, is it important to get those things on there?
No, you don't need a house to get an 800. I don't own a home, and I built out an 800 3 times in 1 year. You don't need it.
Okay, but is it important if you want to get to the 850? Is getting to 850 a realistic goal, and does it matter?
If it's a personal goal for some people, yes, to say I did it, but it's just like an A or an A plus. You graduate college, ain't nobody hiring you looking at your report card. So a 800 or a 750, you're gonna get kind of the same terms. It's like as long as you're over a 740, you will have the most favorable terms. But I believe for personal goals, just for people to say, yo, I did it. Because you know when you work hard, you want to see the fruits of your labor.
Correct.
So that's one of them. So they want to know that, wow, I really achieved an 800 through my hard work. And that's what it is. It's more of a milestone for a lot of people.
So you're teaching people not only how to remove things off the report like you just mentioned, but also the reporting of late payments and all of the other things. Walk us through some of the other stuff that you're teaching people in your course.
So collections. If I'm not mistaken, you were in the credit industry at one point in time. You had one of those.
We were very creatively reporting and managing credit, and I'll leave it at that.
Roger that. So collections.
Yes.
I'm sure you've heard, being in the industry, that don't pay collections, don't pay collections. But a lot of people don't know what law supports don't pay collections. There's a law that supports it. So for everyone right now, fact check everything that I say. Look up 15 USC 1692 CC. And what that's going to bring you to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And it's going to say that a consumer can refuse to pay a debt collector. That's the law that supports it. A lot of people don't know. A lot of credit repair business owners
So why
don't
were there
know.
so many credit repair companies just using fake police reports? Because I remember that was the thing that made us get out of the business because a lot of the people we were trying to work with was trying to go in a legal route to do things. Why, and making all these police reports that were real identity theft. Why are people trying to take the shortcuts the wrong way and not following the law that clearly exists?
People don't read. So people don't comprehend identity theft. All right, let me break it down for you. So identity theft, the definition falls under 18 USC. And if you know what 18 USC is, it's where they sentence people, right? So when we go to 18 USC 1028A, and it's going to bring you to aggravated identity theft, right? So when you go to the definition, it's going to say aggravated identity theft, and it's going to say, in general, whoever doing and in relation to any felony violation enumerated in subsection C knowingly transfers, possesses, or uses without lawful authority a means of identification of another person shall, in addition to the punishment provided for such felony, be sentenced to a term of imprisonment of 2 years. So now there's a section in the FCRA that speaks on permissible purpose, 15 USC 1681b2. So when you go to 15 USC 1681b2, it's going to say a consumer reporting agency may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstances and no other. Number 2 is going to say with written permission from the consumer to whom it relates. If a consumer did not give written permission, a company, a person, a corporation cannot pull their credit reports.
But then we all know that, okay, we live in a world where, at least in this world, the United States part of the world, where credit is classism, racism, it segregates people, businesses, communities. How is it that we live in a world to us that appears that it's all legal and lawful and actually happens every day and people aren't going to prison or people aren't filing charges or there aren't real legal attorneys going after consumers for doing this?
So that's a good question. Company policies are not law. So not because we practice something, it means that it's true. See, I can walk across the road, the highway, every day, right? It doesn't mean that because I never got hit by a car or got stopped by a cop, means it's legal. I think that is called jaywalking. It is an illegal practice, but I've been doing it for years. I just never got caught. So the issue is because a lot of consumers don't know the things that they don't know, the people who do know the things that they don't know use the things they don't know against them because they just don't know it.
So are the laws that you're talking about the laws that consumer reporting agencies are violating, or the actual companies that people are going to apply for credit?
Both.
Okay.
They're in cahoots together.
But when you go to sign, because I also see you say that down payments are not required, right?
Correct.
But everywhere you go, you have to put a down payment, car, house.
Does that mean it's correct?
But it's what it is. So if it's not correct, why the hell do we have to keep putting down down
Hold
payment?
them to the standards. When you know
So you're
better,
saying if I want to go buy a house in Miami right now, house is $5 million, because I literally found one yesterday, 5 or 6 million. And they say we want 10% down. I can say no.
all right. That part is up to you, but let me explain. It's a little bit more technical than just a yes or no. So, do you know that a place that is your principal dwelling, under truth in lending, a consumer can rescind that whole transaction and you can actually keep the house for free?
No.
Okay.
So wait, so I can go through the transaction,
Correct.
give the down payment,
Correct.
and then what?
Rescind the transaction. But it's normally done after a refinance.
And then keep the house?
Correct. I know everybody's like,
Wait,
Daraine,
hold on.
let me
'cause
prove
see,
it.
What's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up in the news because I'm going to go buy the house. I'm going to rescind the offering.
There's a way to do it.
Okay.
There's a process.
And you can legally keep the house.
Correct. So I'm going to even give you all a case law. Everybody can look it up. So 15 USC 1635A, the right of rescission, right? So let me break it down.
I mean, the headline for this interview has to be learn how to buy a house and get your down payment back, you know?
So 15 USC, and everyone can follow, 1635. It's going to bring you to truth in lending, and it's going to bring you to the right of rescission. This isn't Daraine making this up, this is law. Disclosures of obligor's right to rescind, except as provided in this section, in the case of any consumer credit transaction, including open-end or increasing the credit limit for an open-end credit plan in which a security interest, when you do that promissory note, what does that create?
A promise.
A security interest.
Yeah, okay.
Right? A security interest, including any such interest arising by operation of law, is or will be retained or acquired in a property which is used as the principal dwelling. So a home is your principal dwelling, right? Principal dwelling of the person to whom the credit is extended. In this case, it would be extended to you. The obligor shall have the right to rescind the transaction until midnight of the third business day following the consummation of the transaction.
So that means I go buy the house, I give them the down payment, within 72 hours, I request it back.
Not requested back. So when it comes to the first loan, it's a lot more tedious. It works better for a refinance. There's a case law that everybody can look up. It's called Genowiski versus Countrywide, where the Genowiskis refinance their house. When you refinance, you have a 3-year window.
Okay.
So there's 2 periods in here. The first 3 days. But if you didn't get all your disclosures, which Truth in Lending says you're supposed to get, you now have a 3-year window.
So but this doesn't apply to an initial purchase of a personal dwelling.
Just refinance alone. It works better with a refinance. And
Got
the
it.
case law, the Genowiski versus Countrywide, it's based on a refinance. So I like to do the things that I see. So if they did a refinance, then they did it. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a refinance, and then I'm going to use the case law.
So are you saying that you teach people loopholes in the consumer reporting or credit repair world or credit world so that way they can use the loopholes to their advantage?
I don't think it's loopholes. I think if Congress didn't want us to know about it, it wouldn't be in their laws. And the laws that govern credit, the FCRA, Truth in Lending, the FDCPA, if they were supposed to be hidden, I just don't believe they'd be readily available. The difference is between me and your average person is I love to read law. So I'll sit, I can recite most of the FCRA off the top of my head, just like the FDCPA. So if I get a call from a debt collector, I know how to operate. If I see something on my consumer report, I know what to do to get it off. There's absolutely no account on a credit report that I cannot teach you how to delete.
What about public records and student loans? Student loans was the one thing that was very tricky about getting removed. And in fact, I don't even know if people were able to get them removed. Can you get them taken off your credit?
Of course. We just got 11 deleted last week.
How?
All right. Student loans.
But that's only student loans could come off, but they had to not have made a payment or have a payment
There's
arrangement.
no stipulation.
Okay.
An account is an account is an account. I don't care what it is. Even child support, that is the biggest fraud. But I don't think we have time to go into child support. Student loans. When you got your student loans, you're supposed to get 3 disclosures. One of these disclosures was supposed to tell you that, hey, we might disclose your information to an unaffiliated third party. The second disclosure says, hey, if we decide to do it, you have the option to say we can do it or not. The third thing is, if you decide not to do it, we're supposed to tell you how to exercise the right so we don't report your information. I've spoken to so many people with student loans and I asked them, where are these disclosures? They never got them. So I'm gonna go straight to the law because I want everybody to fact check everything that I say. So we're gonna go now.
So what you're basically saying, there's a law that's actually better than what Biden just did in forgiving student loans.
Yeah.
Because you could have forgave it yourself.
Well, it's not.
By just
so
getting it removed.
Getting a student loan deleted from your credit, they go hand in hand.
You still owe it.
Doesn't mean you
don't
don't
owe it.
have the
Got it,
obligation
okay.
or the alleged obligation. Now, what Biden did in conjunction to what I'm going to teach, it's a slam dunk.
Right.
So this law that I'm about to go now is true for any account, right? So when you type in 15, make sure you guys are doing this, 15 USC 686802. Obligations with respect to disclosures of personal information, right? So except as provided in subchapter, not here, opt-out, B. So we're at 15 USC 6802B. And what 6802B is going to say is a financial institution may not disclose non-public personal information to a non-affiliated third party unless. So A says such financial institution clearly and conspicuously discloses to the consumer in writing or in electronic form or other form permitted by the regulation prescribed under section 6804 of this title that such information be disclosed to such third party. So that's basically, hey, we're going to disclose your information to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Then B, that's one. So B now, the consumer, in your case you, is given the opportunity before the time that such information is initially disclosed to direct that such information be disclosed to such third party. So now you have a say, do I want it reported or not? And C, the consumer is given an explanation of how the consumer can exercise that non-disclosure option. So if you decide that you don't want your student loans reported, there is no law that says any account have to be reported. Just like your mortgage, if you get your mortgage deleted, this is how you do it. If you want to get your auto loan deleted, this is how you do it. I've gotten all the above deleted.
That's interesting. There's a lot of people that aren't aware of that. Now, there's somebody on my staff, I'm not going to say his name, but I know he's watching. He's paying late payments. Like he's married to paying these late payments. just got a huge check and literally wrote the whole check over to his late payments. And I keep telling him every day he's a fool for that. But he's not listening to me. Maybe you can help him understand why that's a problem.
All right. So late payments. Now, if there's an agreement between the company about a late fee and stuff with the account, that's on them. But when it comes to your consumer report itself, late payments, or should I say, your transactions or experiences between the consumer, in this case, your friend or your employee, and the person, the company, whether it's Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank, whoever, is not a part of the consumer report. So, personally, what they got going on is their business. But when it comes to the credit report itself, there is no late payment that should be reported because under the exclusion section, transactions and experiences are not included. Wouldn't a payment history be considered a transaction history? So if the law says transactions and experiences are not included, do you know that people lose 357.5 points off their credit because they don't know consumer law?
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
So how are you able to, they said you can get people paid 6 figures off of a repo. Now I've had a repo once in my life. It was a long time ago. It's not even on my credit anymore. But how do you get 6 figures from being repossessed?
All right. So what you want to evaluate is the repossession process. There's a specific way repossession should be done. Repossession falls under UCC 9-6. Let me check it out. It's UCC 9-6.
And is this like a penalty?
It's the procedure. So if you have many successful companies. In these companies, you have rules and procedures. What happens if your videographer is in his SOP? He's supposed to be on set every time 30 minutes early to make sure that if there's any kinks in any of the instruments, he should catch that so you can get it ready for your shoot. But let's say the videographer comes 1 minute before. He barely gets the equipment up, but then he forgets the batteries. See, if he was here 30 minutes ago, he could have caught it. So did you know that the United States is not a country? It is a corporation.
But before we get too far, because I don't want to lose the people, because the people tuning in right now, they're going to want to know, where does this $100,000 come from when they get repossessed? Because a lot of people have gotten their cars repossessed, especially during COVID. And if somebody can come up 100 grand.
Well, it's not necessarily say 100,000.
Okay.
See, what we got to calculate is damages and actual damages. It can be less, it can be more. It's all about, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Right? So the first thing with a repossession is, what you want to look up is UCC 9 Part 6. UCC 9 Part 6. The first thing is you are supposed to get a peaceful repossession. Meaning, if your car is being repoed and you go outside and you see the repo guy and you protest, jump in the car or try to get it away, it's not peaceful anymore. If they still take the car, that is a violation of the first part of the UCC, right? The second part, no.
But if they take it in the middle of the night while you're sleeping?
That's peaceful. There was nobody protesting. Right. So
that's how they got me. You can't get them money.
So the second thing is you're supposed to get a pre-sale letter. They're supposed to be able to prove that they sent a pre-sale letter. Now, the law doesn't say you have to get it, but they need to be able that they sent it. They need to be able to prove that they sent it. The next thing with repossession is it's called the right of first refusal, where the consumer now gets the address, the location to redeem it, right? And in conjunction with that, there's a thing called the repossession deficiency balance. That's when you see it on your credit, that's what it is. That balance, that is called a repossession deficiency balance. What that is now is an itemized breakdown of how much they sold it for and how everything was calculated. See, where the issue comes in is before they can report that repossession, they must send that itemized breakdown to the consumer. No consumer that I've ever spoken about got it. Did you get one?
No, I didn't get that.
But it was on your credit.
Right.
That's illegal because before they can, it being on your credit is a form of collection. Before they can attempt any collection, they need to break that down to you.
Well, it's interesting doing an interview and finding out you've been violated.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of people probably watching who are going to want to know more. Where can they go to get connected to you, get the courses, become more educated in how to make the consumer reporting laws work for them?
So that's an absolutely great question. So, and I also got some free ebooks for your client, for your audience as well. So Instagram, The Credit Hero. I answer my DMs. I am a real person. So THE_credit_hero, The Credit Hero.
We're going to put it up in the
Yep.
interview.
My website's DaraineDelevante.com or Consumer Law Secrets University. You can.
So do you have like ongoing courses?
Absolutely.
So to those people watching who say, but you're not an attorney, that doesn't mean that you can't be educated, like they can't become educated in the law of credit.
Pro se, that's one thing. Do it yourself. But an educated consumer is a dangerous consumer.
Right.
To whom much is given, much is required. If you want to know this stuff, you have to be willing to learn it. Because people think somebody else is coming to save them.
Well, I always say Superman isn't real. Like you got to be your own Superman.
I mean, if I jump off that building outside and yell help, I doubt Superman's coming.
Yeah.
So I need to take my butt down and walk down them stairs and be there safe. You got to be able to save yourself.
Right.
And what I tell people is, Jason, the greatest investment is an investment in yourself. People want a quick fix. They want the microwave fix. They want to, I don't want to look at it, just get it done. Well, what happens next month when the same bad habits come back? Bad credit is from bad habits.
I agree.
Until we fix this, we won't fix the pattern. Because I clean your whole credit, right? 3 months later, you're back. Why are you back? Oh, this happened again. You never learned what to do. I don't believe in giving people fishes. I do not give people fishes. Because when you give a man a fish, he eats for the day. But when you teach a man how to fish, he eats for the rest of his life. I believe in equipping you to be the credit hero for your family so you can break whatever credit or financial barrier that's stopping y'all from being the ultimate consumer.
So all they have to do is go to your website, slide in your DMs, tell you they're interested, you hook them up, and then you walk them through all of these lessons that we did today, plus more.
Absolutely, because my university, we meet twice a week, 8 times a month, right? Sundays and Mondays. And I am breaking down consumer law, I'm breaking down truth in lending, I'm breaking down the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, I'm breaking down everything. And to supplement what I said earlier, I made something specially for you. It's called Remedy. I call it the Remedy Kit. So what I need them to text is, what word should I use? I want a word that resonates with you. Give me one of your words.
Unlocked.
So guys, I want you to text the word unlocked. Unlocked. Text the word unlocked to 917-810-3329. So that's unlocked to 917-810-3329, and I will have 3 ebooks completely free. You don't have to pay for them. 3 ebooks completely free.
Well, listen, you can't beat free, but you know, the game isn't free. And I always tell people, if you really do want to learn or you want to become educated and become an expert in any field, you have to invest in it. Like you said, it's an investment in yourself. I mean, I talked to you offline. We have courses on how to build a successful blog and podcast or show, you know, and there's millions of dollars of game, no pun intended, that went into building what I am and what I built. And so the same with you. I think it's important that Black people specifically get more educated on how to make credit work for them, but also to hold people accountable so that way the games they play on your report don't work against you, you know. And part of our course, we talk about the importance of having established credit. Like, you gotta get your credit right and then be able to get and build other credit opportunities so you can get that other people's money.
Can you imagine if you're building all your businesses now, 0 out of pocket, and you use credit to fund all of it?
Oh, it would be amazing. I will say, now that we do have a lot of different credit stuff happening, we do function off of credit. And we pay, everything is on a credit card. Every renting the space today was on a credit card.
OPM.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the work. Make sure you hit them up. Get the information, because people, we all want everybody to be independently wealthy. And the only way you get there is if you really start to build that credit foundation and that that education that you need to become the bosses that we are. So congratulations and keep doing it.
Definitely. I
Go there
appreciate
now
you.
and type in unlocked. Unlock it. Unlock your credit report.
That's unlocked to 917-810-3329. Let's get it.
Peace.
Consumer law teaches you is that if you got bad credit, you can get paid. You can get paid.
That's when you know a motherfucker ain't lying.
A debt collector cannot put any collection report on your consumer report without getting in contact with you. You don't know the things that you don't know.
I am here today, guys, with a good friend of mine. Met this gentleman in the inner circle. He is amazing. My guy, Daraine.
I come from a spot where, you know, I didn't care about credit for a long time.
Give a man a fish, he eats
Yeah.
for the day. Teach a man how to fish, he eats for the rest of his life.
Yeah.